It's showtime, baby. Let's go. Woo!
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole, and as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the very, very good Cincinnati Reds. Do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I am live streaming on ZTV, Facebook, YouTube. I'm up to 2,521 subscribers. I appreciate you guys. We're on Twitch. And we're on, if you listen to it on the podcast, make sure you check it out. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Also, shout out to my sponsors to the show. If you have not checked out, I'm going to have to ask Jay this, if he's checked out Midwest Best Barbecue, some of the most delicious barbecue around. Go out there, get some of their CTV wings, get some of their G-Funk. We're going to be out there for the day 2 of the draft party out there, so make sure you go check out Midwest Best. Also, with the weather we've been having, you know, it's nice and sunny one day, then it's cold the other day. It's nice to have nice new windows in my house down here. So it's always room temperature. You're never freezing down here. You're never too hot. You're never too cold. Save money on my energy bills. It's great. Go check out Meyer Door and Windows at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your door and window needs. And my West Side peeps, have you been to Hail Mary's yet? Please go check out Hail Mary's. They're right in the heart of Cheviot, or as we call it, Chevois. It's your ticket to the game. They have this giant TV screen. They got beer specials there. Whenever they get the Reds game going today, it might not start till like 7 o'clock, which, hey, give you plenty of time. Get off work. Go to Hail Mary's. Have a couple beers. Watch the Reds game. Hopefully they'll beat the Philadelphia Phillies again. And as always, I'm coming to you live from this glorious place down here. It's the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I'm going to ask Jay about this. Jackpot Joey put kind of a cryptic picture out there on the internet. You know, he says he's got his blinders on. He's all focused. We're going to the Super Bowl, people. We're going to win this thing. So make sure you're ready. You're geared up for our Super Bowl run next year with the Jackpot Joey gear. Go check it out at jackpotjoey9.com. Remember, portions of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Foundation. What is up to everybody in the chat? We got Stranger in there, Paul Painter, Rock and Bagel, Dustin. What is going on, guys? Let's get to this very busy man. Apparently, this is his third podcast he's done today. So after you get done watching mine or listening to it, go check out Jay and his other 2 podcasts. But he is always on time. He's always available for me. I really appreciate them. He's Jay Morrison. There we go. I moved the mouse around and it won't move over where I want to click you on. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, not much, Jeff. How are you?
Good. I got all this stuff I got to do at the beginning of the show, and then I'm trying to click over and click you on, and the mouse won't move. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm here now.
I appreciate it. So, all right, we got a lot of stuff happening here with the Bengals. We got people coming in, draft prospects coming in. I saw Troy Fuago came in yesterday. We had a couple others come in as well. Where are you at on 18 and just of the guys who have come in to visit, like Fuago? Do you see him? Let's start with him first. Do you see him, if they draft him at 18, would he come in here and compete for the right guard spot, or would they just basically have him to be our future right tackle? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it'd be more left guard. I don't think he's...
Or left guard, yes.
For
left
Cordell.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, he would probably get every shot to do both. I think if you're looking for a guy to be your right tackle of the future, you're certainly going to give him a shot to win that off the bat. Trent Brown's not going to give it up easy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be in play. The one thing I know everybody likes to see the visits. I wouldn't put too much stock in it. I mean, obviously, if they're bringing a guy in, they have interest in them, but very rarely do those top 30 visits link up to with actual draft picks. And it's something where the Bengals use those more so. Now, Fontenot's more of a early round option, obviously first round, maybe second. But a lot of times they like to bring in these fringe guys and kind of grease the wheels a little bit before you get to the frenzy after the draft and the undrafted free agency, and you've got that standing relationship already. So the Bengals, like a lot of things they do it a little bit differently than some teams, but yeah, it's always interesting to see who they're bringing in. Sometimes it can be as simple as they never got to him at the combine, and they want to talk to him, and this is the way to do it. So it's interesting to see. It's more now. It seems like it's the prospects breaking their own news by tweeting pictures of their dinner at Jeff Ruby's or something along those lines. Obviously, a team is not going to make public who they're bringing in. They don't want to tip their hand if they are interested in these guys. But with social media now, we find out other ways.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Now, wasn't there a defensive tackle that they brought in as well that he might be? I don't think he's a second round guy, but he might be a non-drafted free agent or maybe really late round. Is there some? I thought I remember hearing that. Do you know who?
I think you're talking about Rogers from Auburn.
Yes.
Yeah. He's one of those run stoppers that they need. That they lost DJ Reader, and they got Sheldon Rankins to be kind of that BJ Hill complement as a 3-tech, and I think they're still in the market to draft a 3-tech. And Tavondre Sweat is clear cut number one run stopping defensive tackle in the draft. 18 is probably too early to draft him. 49, he might not be there. So I think he's definitely I think he's definitely a play for the Bengals at 49. But if he's not, then there's kind of a fall off, and there's just not a lot of those type of guys. Most of these defensive tackles in this draft are the 3-techs. So again, that's a guy that maybe slides to the end of the draft, and you build a relationship with him, and then when it's time to turn it from drafting guys to recruiting guys to come and play for you as an undrafted guy, you've got that working relationship already.
Now, what's your thoughts of Johnny Newton? Possibility of him being there at 18.
Oh, I think he will be.
Do you think the Bengals will draft him if he's there?
I don't know. I still think tackle's the way to go. I'd probably put it at 80%. It depends. If 6 of them go off the board in the first 17, then I think maybe you pivot and you get Johnny or you get Murphy. You get one of those top 2 defensive tackles. We did our podcast today. We had our lead draft analyst on, and I asked him about those 2 specifically. Because you always see them. They're in all these mocks. They're drafted within a couple spots of each other. You look at people's rankings, and they're 1 and 2. And he was slightly higher on Newton than he is Murphy. So if both those guys are there, it'll be interesting to see which one the Bengals favor if that's the direction they go.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if it's not a tackle, because I'm not so confident that the Bengals can draft and develop a tackle in the second round. But we have such a big hole with my boy DJ being gone. That gets me to Dustin Croft's question here. Jay, following up on the DJ Reader interview on Kay Adams, do you think the Bengals organization could do a better job of communicating with their players?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because at the combine, I can't remember I think Lou said it. I know multiple guys said it. Zach might have been one, but talking about how DJ was around the building and every day, but they can't talk football with these guys. They can come in and they can do their rehab, and you can shoot the crap with them, shoot the bull with them. But the front office, I think there is a little bit of a hole there, and it's maybe one of those things where they wanted DJ back. They didn't think that they were gonna bid high for him. So it was just a matter of, well, let's wait and see if another team is willing to bank that big on his recovery from this injury, then you're not going to get him anyhow. But it's not the first time we've heard this. We've heard many players feel.
Jonah Williams last year, they didn't communicate with him.
Jonah, Jesse Bates, Andrew Whitworth.
Yep.
I mean, he was insulted by the way that came down. So it's just, it's kind of I don't know if you want to say in their DNA, but they put their head down, they know what they're doing, they go for it. And yeah, it's tough when it's a guy like that means so much to the organization. You don't like to hear it. But obviously DJ felt slighted. And it's probably a significant reason why he's not here.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, I don't know about you, Jed, but with the injury he had being at the second one of that kind and his age, I honestly didn't really think he was really going to get any real significant contract talk until later on in the summer after the draft. I was actually quite surprised of how aggressive Detroit was. And for what I've read, it was pretty much the Bengals and Detroit. And it kind of seems like if the Bengals would have just, talked to him a little bit, he might have stayed. And that hurt. I mean, I love DJ Reader. He's been one of my favorite players, and it sucked to see him. It's going to suck to see him on another team, because what I was hoping is once we signed, because like right after we signed Rankins, he left, and he went to, or DJ left and went to Detroit, or vice versa. It was right around the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I still want this. When we had the Super Bowl run, we had that three-guy, I don't say rotation, but three guys in there between DJ Reader, Larry O, and BJ Hill. And that worked out really well, and we still have not replaced Larry O. Now, I think we kind of did with Rankins, but now DJ's gone. So that's where I bring it back to Johnny Newton, where I'm like, if he's there, I go back and forth on wanting to draft him or not. If I felt better about the Bengals drafting and developing offensive linemen, I'd say, all right, go draft one in the second round. You have a proven track record that you've developed one. Now, I say that Cordell Volson has been pretty good. I mean, he came from Division II football, and he's played, pretty good. Not great, but pretty good at the guard spot. So that is some version of, okay, they're starting to develop somebody. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable enough if the Bengals were to draft, say, Johnny Newton, and then go draft one in the second round? Would you be okay with that? Or would you rather them draft, say, Mims out of Georgia and then hopefully go get Sweat? Maybe they might have to trade up in the second round to go get it because you have 2 third-round picks. You could package one of those up to move up in the second round to maybe possibly get Sweat. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if a guy like Mims is available, I think, Mims, Latham, Feliz, if one of those top 5 or 6 guys, I think you go for it. And worry about the defensive tackle position in the second round, the third round, maybe the fourth, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, like what we said with Reader, I didn't think that was going to be the case either. I did not think that teams were going to be getting into a bidding war for him, given the fact that he's probably not going to pass a physical and right before the season starts.
Right.
But it only takes one. It's one team, and that's what it was. And it cost him. And that's what I was thinking. Where he could, that was the path for him to come back to the Bengals, is if there was no other options out there and the Bengals were like, hey, come back to us. We'll give you an incentive-laden deal. He clearly wasn't interested in that once the Lions stepped in with $9 million guaranteed and $27 million over 2 years. So I just think that the first thing first, you've got Rankins, you've got BJ Hill. That's your 3-tech rotation. That's pretty solid. Now, yes, you're missing the defensive tackle, the run plugger. But if you go out and you get another 3-tech, you're hoping one of those guys can step in and be serviceable against the run. No one's going to be a DJ Reader, but you just can't have a liability there. I don't know that they should shy away from getting another defensive tackle just because he's strictly a 3-tech. Rankin's only a 2-year deal. BJ Hill's deal's up soon. You have to keep those guys in the pipeline and keep replenishing the system. So I could definitely see that being a position they double up on in this draft with 10 picks. Get a 3-tech and a run stopper.
I totally can see them doing that. I think it's going to be a big trenches draft. And I know everybody keeps talking about Brock Bowers. I would be shocked if he's there at 18. I mean, something had to happen for him to drop to 18. So I don't really consider that, but everybody else wants to talk about that if he's there. If he's there, just curiosity, if he's there, would you take Brock Bowers at 18 if he's there? Which, again, I don't think he's going to be there, but if he was.
If I was Duke Tobin?
Yeah.
Probably not. The way this offense is constructed, the way this team is constructed, they've made it clear they don't value the tight end. I don't think I think you have bigger needs than an elite tight end. I think Brock Bowers is going to be fantastic. He's going to be one of the best tight ends we've seen in a long time. But I think they've got more pressing needs. You know, I had it in a story yesterday. Since the Bengals drafted Drew Sample in the second round in 2019, there have been 71 tight ends drafted. All of the other 31 teams have drafted at least one. The Bengals have not drafted a tight end since Drew Sample. 23 of those teams have drafted multiple tight ends. They just don't value the position. They're content to go out and get a Gesicki, to get a Hurst, to let a guy like CJ Uzama develop. I think that's what you see him do again. I think, you know, they get a guy maybe late, that 97 pick in the third round at the earliest, but more likely they'll get a guy in the fourth or fifth round and let him learn behind Hudson and Gesicki and you know, see where it goes. But I can't see him spending a premium pick on a tight end, even one as great as Brock Bowers.
I mean, Jay, when you have an elite tight end like Drew Sample, I mean, you just stop after you draft him. You just stop them. No, I mean,
you give him a 3-year deal extension, and
you're done.
We're good.
We're good. No, but actually, I'm really excited about the tight end room that we have with Gesicki, with Tanner Hudson, because you and me talked last year. I was banging the drum for Tanner Hudson last year because I remember watching him on the bridge going, who is this dude? And I'm not saying he's the next coming or anything, but if that's your 3 tight end room and you're going to run a 2 tight end set with two of those 3 guys out of there, I think that's pretty good. And Gesicki, it's going to be more, he could, if they don't sign TB, which reports are that the Squealers have broken off talks with TB. So all us Bengals fans say, hey, come on back, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But right now, Tyler Boyd is not on this team. Gesicki, I think, plays the slot a lot more. I would say almost about as many times as he plays tight end in this offense.
Yeah, and that's the case. But if they go out and they get, which I think they will, a really good receiver on day 1 or day 2, and it's a guy that has slot versatility, then all of a sudden you got Chase Higgins and the new receiver, and you know, maybe Gesicki goes a little bit more into some inline stuff, but I don't think you're going to see a lot. I don't think you see him really lean into that because that's not what he does best. He is better off running as a receiver, and there's no reason you can't have 2 slots. You have 4 wide. Right. This team loves to go empty, and Joe Burrow let him use his superpower, which is processing super fast and getting the ball out. So I agree. I think you're going to see Gesicki in pretty much the same role he had in Miami. It was a little different in New England last year, but that was a junk offense. They just were not very good at all. And you can't, and he still had a decent year in a bad offense, splitting time with Hunter Henry. So I really do. He is one of my favorite free agent signings, not just for what he can bring, but the fact that they got him for $2.5 million is just a steal.
Yeah, I mean, they've done awesome with their contracts between with they paid Gesicki and with paid Trent Brown. Get out of here. That's unbelievable. Jeff Anderson here says, is Juwan Briggs on the Bengals' radar?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so far, I don't know these prospects. And obviously the Bengals aren't talking about, you know, who's on their radar. But, you know, if it's a player that fits a hole, then he's absolutely going to be on their radar. I don't think they cross anybody off. Now, maybe they have a bad visit with a guy and say they're not interested in him. But
kind of like Tart, when Tart came here, he wasn't a good.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, heck, he's still available.
I'm still
the price comes way down,
right.
And he doesn't seem like such a difficult person.
Well, that's the thing. You got him, and I'll get Wells up here too. You got Calais Campbell. I mean, those two are still out there. I mean, those guys are worth kicking the tires on if you can get him in for cheap. I know Calais Campbell's with 30. How old is he?
38.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying you count on him, Jay. I'm just saying you can bring him in. It wouldn't be a bad thing to try, I think. But I mean, I would rather have Tart, I think, out of the two.
Yeah, because he is more of that run stopper,
Yeah.
and Campbell knows the division, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just you even though you wouldn't count on him to be a starter or a 60-70% guy,
Mm-hmm.
you're still counting on him to be on your 53, to be on your active 46,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, banking on a 38-year-old at that spot. I mean, maybe you get him at league minimum, something like that, but he's not signing for a league minimum. It's intriguing. I mean, he's huge. He's got such a great track record. It would be really fun to see what he could do, but it just doesn't really fit the Bengals profile.
Right. All right. Bob Young here says, all right, let's say top 3 tackles are off the board. Murphy is gone. Would you go wide receiver or top corner? Personally, he would rather go corner as deep as the wide receiver draft is.
So is this at 18?
I'm assuming so. Say, let's say top 3
The
tackles.
top 3 offensive tackles. I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
offensive
yeah.
tackles are off the
Off
board.
Yeah.
And Murphy's gone. Well, if Newton's not gone, maybe I go Newton.
Yeah,
and if it's just the top 3,
there's still more.
I'm content with the 4 or 5 tackle
Uh-huh.
with this tackle class. I do think you'll see, if that's the case, if they go tackle there, then I think it's going to be
Latham
from Alabama.
Yeah.
Maybe Mims is 4. He's still there.
Those are really the 2 that I think are most likely going to be there.
I think
at
Latham
18.
will be there.
Yeah, Latham and Mims, I think will most likely be there. And the good thing, Jay, is with them signing Trent Brown, if they draft Latham or Mims, they don't have to start. I mean, they can compete for the right tackle spot, but like you said, I don't think Trent Brown's going to give it up.
Latham and Mims could both push Cordell Volson too for that
right,
job.
and that's
both
the other
can
thing.
play guard, and
yeah.
But if it's tackle in the first round, then I think it's defensive tackle or wide receiver in the second round, and then whichever one of those it's not, then it's between that and cornerback in that first pick of the third round. I think people sleep on wide receiver a little bit. Seeing how T. Higgins is still here.
I'm sleeping on him. I know because I don't see them going wide receiver till one of the 2 third-round picks. It's kind of work because I don't for some reason it's just trenches. I think first round it's going to be they're both going to be linemen. It's going to be offensive lineman or a defensive lineman second round or vice versa. That's just how I feel it is, but I don't know anything.
I like Polk from Washington as a second round pick there, and it drops into the third. It gets there's a drop off. It's a deep class, but it is still a drop off. And I wouldn't sleep on corner either. I think you constantly have to keep replenishing that position and start looking ahead. I know Dax Hill or DJ Turner could play slot in 2025 after Mike Hilton's gone, but maybe you go out and you get a guy like another Michigan defensive back like Sanders still, and you plug him in as your slot of the future, or you get an outside corner. It's a position they like to stock up on, and I don't think that's going to change this year.
Do you think after the draft they'll sign some more free agents, kind of like they did last year? Because I can see them getting another corner in free agency after the draft. It depends how the draft goes, but I think they'll sign somebody after the draft. Do you think? It's a roundabout question, but do you think they'll sign some more free agents after the draft?
Yeah, I mean they've got money, and there's a lot of guys out there. I think you're going to see a lot of teams grabbing guys. Everybody's kind of in a holding pattern right now to see how the draft plays out, but there's still a decent amount of players out there that maybe aren't going to be I don't want to say difference makers, but they can contribute. They can help you win games.
Oh yeah.
And even not right after the draft. I mean, look, they like a Mike Daniels type when they brought him in as a defensive tackle right before camp that year. I do think there will be more signings after this draft.
All right, Jolly wants to know here: are they more likely to trade up or trade down? I mean, for me, it's trade down because they've done that more often than they traded up. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, and especially if we're talking first round. I mean, the last time they traded up in the first round was Kajana Carter in '95, and
dude.
I mean, it feels like that's a never again proposition. That's something.
I got to tell you a story about that. I will never forget this. I was 94, so I was in college year after I graduated high school. So my buddies and I got together and we were watching the draft. So the night before, I had this dream, and I God's honest truth, I dreamt. This is how ate up I am about the Bengals. I dreamt that the Bengals traded up to get the number 1 pick, and if lo and behold they did, I'm like, holy shit! And then he blew his knee out, and But
I still don't know how it happened because I was at that night that they were in Detroit for the first preseason game. I can't remember if it was a Friday night or a Saturday night. I was at the Reds game. I just graduated college a few years earlier, and we heard about it at the Reds game about him blowing out his knee. And there was no social media, there was no cell phones. I don't know how word spread that fast. But yes, but we did hear about it in the olden days, the early the mid 1990s.
Way back there when we had to read it in the newspaper the next day.
That's right,
dude. I remember that too. I was watching that game, and I still see it in my head. He tried to make one cut and his knee went like that. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But the funny thing is, we had this conversation with Corey Dillon. If Kajana Carter doesn't hurt his knee, we never draft Corey Dillon. So
probably,
and it's funny how stuff sometimes bad things work out for the best. Like I've said this a million times. If Joe Burrow doesn't hurt his knee in his rookie year, we don't get Jamar Chase. So
yeah.
I mean, it sucked at the time, and years before that, if the Bengals hadn't drafted Dwayne Haskins, like some people wanted them to, they wouldn't have drafted Joe Burrow. So
yeah,
it's just funny how things work. Sometimes things don't work out for the Reds, like letting the offensive lineman go that they shouldn't let go, but we'll see. So, do you know who the Bengals have coming? Do the Bengals have anybody coming in this week or more this week to come in to check out the facilities or anything that they possibly could be trading or drafting?
No. I would advise people to maybe create a column on your Twitter of all the draft eligible prospects and just put a filter on it for keyword Cincinnati and just wait, because they will let you know. They're the ones that are going to let you know. The Bengals aren't. They're very tight-lipped anyhow. This is something they're especially tight-lipped with, and even it doesn't seem like agents are putting it out there as much. It's the prospects doing it now, saying, "Look where I'm at."
One of them took a picture of Paycor or whatever and put it out there as they're driving by it or whatever.
It was the parking lot. It was the parking lot right outside of the team offices.
Right. Yeah, the one I'm always standing outside watching you guys walk over to the practice field. All right, Robert here. Jay, would you trade T, Browning, and pick 18th for the Pats' number 3 overall pick and 5th and take Joe Alt?
Man.
T, Browning, 18. I would to get Alt, yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Well, I don't know if I throw the 5th in. I might take if he took. Well, I don't know. You might have to throw the 5th in because T's where he is. Browning's a. I don't know. He asked you. You answer.
I mean, it's yes. Alt is the kind of the consensus number 1 tackle in this draft, but he's not a number 1 overall pick. Generational talent at tackle.
Right,
That's given up a lot. I'm of the mindset right now that do not trade T. Higgins. Yes, he requested one, but Jonah requested one, and they said, "We hear you, but we're not going to do it."
Jesse Bates requested one.
He came in and played like a pro, had his best year, and then got paid. I see T doing the same thing. He's not going to cause a stink. He might sit out some of the voluntary stuff, but when it's time to be here, he's going to be here, and he's going to play his butt off. And the idea of getting, like if it's a Diggs deal, you get a 2nd round pick next year. Would you rather have T. Higgins production in 2024 and then a 3rd round comp pick in 2025, or no T. Higgins this year and an extra 2nd round pick next year? It just, and I don't see the Diggs. I just wrote about this. The Diggs and Higgins things are so different. I mean, the level of discontent between those two are night and day.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is 25, Diggs is 31. And it's just, I don't see a team coming in and making the kind of the offer the Bengals would accept. They're not looking for market value. They're looking for a team willing to go over market value. And when you look at this wide receiver draft class, I just don't see a team doing that.
Right. That's what I've said that too. And the other thing too, Jay, and actually Dallas, your co-host there, brought this up. I think it was him. I never thought this. Last year, the Bengals lost Jesse Bates and Von Bell, 2 leaders on the offense or defensive side of the ball. They've already lost Joe Mixon, most likely losing Tyler Boyd. Do you really want to go into the season and losing T. Higgins, another big voice, in that offensive room, and let alone talent. That's where I'm like, there's one I've never thought they were going to trade him. I personally think there's a better shot of them tagging him again next year and possibly trading him next year. Because I'd be surprised if they don't tag him twice. They could tag him twice and let him go, but I think there's a better shot of them tagging him next year and possibly trading him next year. But my point is, you don't want to lose too many veteran guys on this team that are big pillars of your team. And T. Higgins has been here since the beginning of this thing with Joe Burrow. That's a big voice. That's a big player to lose, along with Joe Mixon, along with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I think T's one of the more of those leaders by example. He's not super vocal in that locker room. He's very well respected though, and people know what he can do for this offense. TB, I think people they understand the business side of it. Joe Mixon brought that energy every day in practice, but I think there's other guys that can pick up that slack. I think Mike Gesicki's going to be one of them. Just you go on his opening press conference. And the Bell and the Bates were the really big losses leadership wise, because it was what they meant in the locker room, was what they meant on the field. It was intelligence and understanding of the scheme in addition to leadership. And so it's part of the life cycle of the NFL. You got to turn it over. And some of these guys that have guys like T, even Joe Burrow maybe need to step it up. Leaders leave, and the leaders that remain need to become more vocal. And I think you'll see that. And some guys like Jordan Battle, who last year was a rookie and kind of deferred. Mm-hmm. He was a great leader at Alabama, but he kind of deferred. He knew his place. But I think you're going to see him step up and be in one of those leader roles. It's going to be a little tougher with Von Bell coming in and kind of blocking him a little bit. But I still think Jordan Battle is going to get on this field. And I think he's going to be a leader on this defense.
Yeah, that was bringing me to my next question is, how is this going to work with this safety room now with Stone, Bell, and Battle? Are we going to see more of the and we say this all the time, but now we actually have three legitimate guys we can do this probably with three safety look, or is it really going to be a split time between Battle and Bell? How do you think it's going to work out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I think you will see some three safety stuff, but it's not going to be part of their base defense, right. And you're not going to see it a lot. So then when it is two, does he split time, or is it Von Bell and they put Bell in as a starter until Battle proves that he's younger, he's more athletic, he's got that part of him, but he's still learning the game, he's still learning the scheme, and maybe it's just one of those situations where Bell takes the reins early in the season, and at some point Battle proves that he's the better option and he takes over there. And it's just always good to have the more players back there, the better. But I don't know. I don't know if they know how this is going to play out. We got conflicting statements at the combine. Lou Anarumo said Dax Hill needs to do one thing well. And then a couple weeks ago or last week in Orlando at the owners meetings, Zach Taylor was talking about how great it is, all the different things that Dax Hill can do. So I think they're still trying to figure this out on the fly too. It's get as many defensive backs back there as possible and see what they can do, see where they best fit, and let Lou cook. I mean, he's great at coming up with these schemes and moving these guys around. And maybe this is the year where he starts rotating defensive backs. He's been adamant about not wanting to do that, but this could be the year we see him do it.
Well, the thing is, like you said, let Lou cook. Give him more toys to play with. I'm all for. I'm all
Absolutely.
for. Lou can mix and match some stuff up, and the thing is, and that's what I always when the Bengals defense. Let's be honest. The Bengals defense is the reason that the Bengals went to the AFC Championship and they went to the Super Bowl the 2 years prior. Mm-hmm. I kept saying they had that morphing amoeba defense where they could switch and take, and they would do what the Patriots did great for years. Whatever you did good, take that away from you. Last year, we couldn't do that as much. I think with the added of the safeties and stuff like that, and I still got to get up. We still got to get a defensive lineman. But if you plug that in there, I think we got more talent on the defensive side of the ball this year than we did last year. So Lou can go back to being the mad scientist and doing the amoeba defense and trying to take away whatever that team does best.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily about versatility among the starters. It's about depth.
Yes.
And having second string guys that you can put in that can do different things that can really allow you to mix and match your game plan and your scheme from game to game, from half to half even.
Exactly. Now, how you were in the room when Rankins had his press conference? Was that one of the best introductory press conferences you've ever been around?
I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't there? Oh, sorry.
No, I actually watched that one from home,
Okay.
but it was entertaining. I was kind of kicking myself for not getting down there, but I had another conflict that day and had to just do it on the stream. But he's going to be fun to talk to this year.
He is. He's going to be interesting. I don't think he's going to hold stuff back.
No, that's what we live for. We don't want to hear cliches and coach speak and tell us what you really think.
You guys are going to be running to Rankins after the game. You guys be throwing over like, nope, I'm in here first. Let me in.
Then a lot of times we go in the locker room, not even after games, during the week, we go in the locker room and we're in the locker room waiting for them to come off the field after practice. I can see people camping out at Rankins' locker.
Right.
We know on Thursdays we'll be camped out at Jamar's locker, but maybe one of those other days it'll be camping out at Rankins' locker.
Well, I'm waiting for the one time he asked you the question, who the hell is the guy on the bridge all the time? Like that's me. Like that's Iceman. All right, Jay, I appreciate you've been on for 36 minutes. Hey, I know you're a busy guy. You got articles and stuff going on. What do you got going on? You want to plug anything before I let you go? I know you just had a couple podcasts you did, so plug away, please, sir.
Yeah, I recorded the Growler podcast with Paul Daner Jr. earlier today. That one's already up on YouTube. We actually did it live. I was a little nervous.
Oh, dang,
live? You do it live all the time. That's old hat for you. But yeah, it was new for us. So we did that. And then my PFN Bengals podcast with Dallas Robinson, we recorded that today. Ian Cummings, our lead draft analyst, he's fantastic. He might not be a name you guys know like Daniel Jeremiah or Dane Brugler, but he's gonna be. He is really good, and he's got some great insight. We went through position by position, and if you can't get a like what we were talking about, you can't get a defensive tackle in the first round. Who's the best run plugger in the second round, the third round? So really interesting to hear from him. And then if you haven't checked it out, the new multi-user mock draft on Pro Football Network, a lot of fun. You can get 9 of your buddies. Everybody picks a team. You go in there, you run the draft. You propose trades to each other. You reject trades from each other. It's a groundbreaking thing that we're doing, and we're adding more bells and whistles to it as we speak. We're going to roll out some new features to it even next week. So if you like doing mock drafts, definitely check that out.
Yeah, there's lots of people like doing mock drafts, and I agree with that. Ian is awesome. I had him on the show a couple weeks ago. I got to reach out to him again for the draft and get him on here. But he's awesome. Jay, I couldn't believe how people throw names out in the chat. I'm like, and I don't know who they are sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I pop out and he goes, it's just, he just rattles.
He doesn't just know who they are. He knows every element of their game and what they're good at and what they're not. And that's what a draft analyst is supposed to be. And he does. That's all that guy does is watch film. And he's great. I met him for the first time at the combine this year. I was just so impressed by him, and I was impressed by his work anyhow. But then when you talk to him, just a whole nother level.
Yeah, I mean, he knows their dogs' names. I mean, geez, that's ridiculous.
It's important stuff.
Exactly. Jay, I appreciate it, man. Get back to work. Make sure you guys go check out Jay and all his writings and all his podcasts. And hey, pretty soon here in about a month, you'll be seeing me again. So I know you miss me. I know you do.
Maybe they hide in the bubble and we don't get to see
I know. I hate that when they do that. All I can do is stand outside going, "Hey, let me in." They're like they haven't given me a press pass yet. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll stand outside and say hi to you guys, and I'll go home. But maybe if they're in the bridge, I'll get to see it. Anyway, Jay, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, great seeing you, Jeff.
Take it easy, buddy. Bye. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I don't know if the Reds game has started yet or not, because it was supposed to start at 1:00, and then still in delay. Then last night they moved to 4:05, and it was a complete downpour. There's nothing but green over top of Philly. So hopefully they'll get the game in. What I did find out is that they both have off day tomorrow, but they cannot play the game because the Phillies stadium is already rented out for something else. What else is going on there in Philly? WrestleMania. So I'm pretty sure they got something going on with WrestleMania tomorrow. So they cannot move the baseball game to tomorrow. So with that being said, with both teams being off, they're going to wait as long as they can to try to get this game in. I mean, I predicted it would start about 7:00. I have not seen anything. I look at on my phone right now that they're not saying a start time as of yet that I see. It still says 4:05, and it's not on at 4:05. So, anyway, question for you guys: how are you feeling about the Cincinnati Reds? They've all lost 2 games. My boy Graham Ashcraft, I think, pitched his ass off, and I DM'd him. I said, I hope you're not going to become the rain guy. You know, there's always one pitcher that always pitches in the rain. And he was pitching in miserable conditions last night. I know he gave up 2 home runs to Bryce Harper, but it is Bryce Harper. But that's not the reason we lost the game. It came down to defense. Ellie made a couple defensive miscues, which he's going to do that. It's only the 2nd loss of the season. To have a chance of winning the series, that's the more important thing, is you want to stack up series wins over and over and over and over again. That's how you get to the playoffs. That's how you become a winning organization, because, well, you get to the playoffs, you want to win the series, whatever the series is, 4 game, 7 game, whatever the series is. That's what you want to do. I am pleasantly surprised with the way Jonathan India is playing, because everybody and their brother was saying, oh, we got to trade Jonathan India. Oh, Jonathan India's this bad. Oh, he's a terrible second base and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't think he's that bad. I mean, he's all right. I mean, he's not like a Gold Glove second baseman, and he's a pretty good, hitter, I thought. And I was more worried about losing him as far as the team leader, as my buddy Steve Offbaker from Lock the Reds calls him Red Leader, of losing that guy. Well, with the Matt McClain injury, India's back, and he's playing pretty darn good. The at-bat he had over the weekend, 10 pitches. He's down to his last strike, found pitches off left and right, getting on base, so Will Benson can hit behind him and hit that 2-run homer, and then CS hitting the home run to win it. That's Jonathan India in a nutshell. That's getting off the mat. That's leading by example. I mean, just if you watched last night, they were still fighting through at-bats. They were still grinding at-bats out. They were still trying, even though they were down by 8 runs. They were still trying to put a professional at-bat together. That's what I love about this team, and I will give David Bell credit for that he has gotten these guys to give professional at-bats, to never give up. That is credit, I think, to the players, to the team, and to David Bell, the culture he's created. Now, David Bell does irritate me with some of the moves he does. I'm still irritated that he left Diaz out there to lose the daggone game, the second game of the season. But I digress. I'm not going to like everything he does. But there is more things that I like than I don't like. Let's see. Yes, Paul, the defense sucked. Yes, it did. And one thing, Ellie, both plays, Ellie had, all he's got to do is take his time. I mean, the one, it hit it right up the middle. He's got it. He's running toward first base. He's got plenty of time. Take your time. Step. Throw the ball. You got a cannon for an arm. You got plenty. Now, the other thing is, yeah, it's a bad throw. I still think CES should have caught it. It was in his glove. He still should have caught it. Because, I mean, when the play happened live, they were like, oh, his foot came off the bag. I'm looking going, his foot didn't come off that bag. I'm like, I said, I want to see a replay on that. Because I was going to say, replay. Then I saw it on the replay, and the ball popped out of CES's glove. So, bad throw by Ellie. Also, CS, you got to make that play. I mean, both ends. The error went to Ellie. The double play ball. Ellie has got to, so many things have come easy for Ellie that he almost takes it for granted. Like, oh, I get a glove. I can just flip it to him. Hit time. Take out your glove and throw. Do the fundamentals. Ellie's going to be flashy, but just being Ellie and just playing the game by just making plays that other guys cannot make. He doesn't need to flip the ball out of his glove. Just take it out and throw it. Let you practice that or whatever. Especially on a rainy night. The ball is slippery. You don't know what's going to happen. Take the ball, throw it out, throw it to second baseman. Let's go get the double play, and let's get out of this inning. Those are things that Ellie, it comes down, I think, to he's taking it for granted that he can do it, and concentration, of where, You're playing 162 ball games. Your concentration at this level has to be high at all times. Hitting the ball and fielding the ball. Those are things that he's 22 years old. It's going to come around. I'm not working. I'm not worried about it. Let's see here. What do you want? How do I get that Tiger chant? Oh, this one? That is from Darth, my boy Darth Bengal. Check him out. He's on Twitter under Darth Bengal. So that's where I got that one. Let's see here. They can't even call freaking pop-ups. It's not that bad, Paul. I mean, they lost 2 games. It's a little bit, relax a little bit. It's not that bad. Robert here. These guys will get better. They don't have the time on tasks together. That means something. They will get better. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I mean, we lost 2 games. Last night really should have been our first loss. I mean, they're playing good. You know? I mean, what are the standings right now? Has Pittsburgh lost a game yet? Because, I mean, they're the ones that I'm like, are you freaking me? Because they were, like, undefeated not that long. Let me see the standings here. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 5-0. They're not going to stay 5-0. The Milwaukee Brewers, who traded all their players, lost their manager, are 4-1. We're 3-2. I mean, those 2 teams are playing out of their mind right now. I mean, Pittsburgh's winning percentage is at 1,000. That's not going to stay like that. Milwaukee's not going to stay like that. Chicago, I think it's Chicago and Cincy are the 2 teams in this race. St. Louis is 3-3. So they're all going to come back to the pack. You just got to keep playing consistent and winning series. Let's see here. Tim, Ellie needs to learn how to hit off-speed pitches. Yes, I agree with that. And the one thing I will say this about Ellie, everybody is going to get irritated with Ellie and his strikeouts. He's what, 6'6"? Him and Aaron Judge have got the 2 biggest strike zones in professional baseball. In Major League Baseball. I don't know, maybe there's taller guys in the minor leagues. They're going to strike out a lot. Their zone is too big. It's just a fact. I mean, their zone is so big, they're going to strike out a lot. I do agree with you. He needs to learn how to get better at hitting the off-speed pitches. Which, again, that comes with time. I mean, I said 22 years old. He's still going to be athletic and talented. We're going to have to take the good with the bad when it comes to Ellie. That's just the way it is. Excuse me. Paul, has he been watching that dude's tape? That dude, BP! Now, that dude could do it, but also that dude practiced that, and that dude was a lot older than Ellie is trying to do this stuff. Brad, Ice, do you agree with Lance McAllister that Ellie might benefit from going back to... No. No. I love Lance. I do. It's like that is a complete and utter overreaction. I mean, he was ready last year. He's ready this year. You're going back down to AAA where he's clearly better than everybody that's down there. I don't think will help him. You don't want it to get easier for him. It's already been easy. That's my point. Things have come easy to him. This is the highest level of baseball. It shouldn't be easy. He should mess up. He should make mistakes. Now, the point is for him to figure out how to develop and get better and let his athleticism and his baseball knowledge help him improve. I don't see how sending him back down to AAA where he's clearly better than everybody else. Last year, he was just toying with them. We were waiting for weeks for him to come up last year. I mean, so no, I don't see why you send him down to AAA and help him improve on stuff where you're just all you're doing is making it easier on him. Then he'll come back up here and he's still got to beat Major League pitching. I mean, the errors, it's just concentration. It's simple stuff to fix. I mean, it is. Take the ball out of your glove, throw it. Take your time. Take your breath. Throw the ball. It's simple stuff. I don't think that's something that is going to... I mean, yes, it could improve from AAA, But then he's still got to come up here and do it against the guys he was struggling against. Now, if we get into May and he's still doing it, then maybe. But I mean, he was doing some of this stuff last year, and we were all excited as hell. It's just the way he is. He's got to not worry about making that's the thing. Once Ellie figures out that he does not have to worry about making the spectacular play because he's so athletically gifted that he's going to do it without even trying, that's when that light switch goes off. That's when Ellie's going to be, oh, okay. The game's got to slow down for him. Going to AAA does not make the game slow down for him, my opinion. Let's see here. Robert. Ellie needs to focus on hitting from one side of the plate, in my opinion. See, he's been switch hitting for so long. Like, the thing is, I don't think Ellie needs to change stuff. I mean, we don't, let's just, everybody just calm down. He's the most talented player that I've seen in a Reds uniform since Eric Davis, Eric the Red. Okay? You don't need to move into AAA. You don't need, it's 4 games into the season. I know he struggled for a month last year. Toward the end of the season last year, in September, the last week or so, he started coming back around with his hitting. Just relax. We're 4 games into this. He doesn't need to go down to the minors. He doesn't need to stop switch hitting. I said, give him time. You've got to give him time to develop. Again, he is so... We will never understand this. Things have come so easy for him because he's so athletic and he's so good. Once you get up here, this is the best of the best. That's where it's either put up or shut up. You're either going to do it or you're not. I mean, you guys remember Brandon Larson? Brandon Larson was a phenomenal AAA hitter. Phenomenal. We'd send him up, send him back down. He'd come back up, come back down. Couldn't hit major league pitching. They kept yo-yo, back and forth. I'm like, you got to leave him in the majors. He's got to figure out if he's going to hit. We know he can hit AAA. We know Ellie can hit AAA. We know Ellie can play shortstop at AAA. He needs to figure out and do it here. My opinion, I don't think going down there helps, though. Paul says they don't throw off speed in AAA. Yeah, they don't. Tim, I got Dustin Rhodes showing up. All right, here we go. All right, do some wrestling talk. All right, this dude, we're thinking the same thing. I got Dustin Rhodes showing up at Mania to help Cody. Sorry, it's not related. No, dude, we're doing a WrestleMania show tomorrow, so that's fine. Tim, I have said that for the last month, that I could just see that. But then, and I keep thinking that Cody's going to win. Watching the Roman Reigns documentary on A&E, how much money they're making with him as the man, as the head of the table, as the bloodline, I don't know. I don't know. I do like Dustin coming in. I still like that either way. I'm not sure they're going to let Cody do it, which would suck, but they got it rolling. I mean, they've had consecutive... They're selling tickets like they did in the Attitude Era. And who's the number one guy? Roman Reigns. Who's the guy below him? Seth freaking Rollins. They're making billions. Money talks, dude. You keep making them money, you're going to stay on top. So, and the thing is, I don't think as many people are getting sick of Roman being the champion as I at first thought. So, I don't know. We will see. Here you go, Lawrence. We got here. I heard the game would be played at 7 or at 7:30. Oh, that would be great. I hope so. Natty, what is up? Where have you been at? I haven't seen you on the show in a while. Welcome back, brother. I hope all is well. Let's see here. Robert, 10-game hitting streak. It may continue. It may. Ellie. Bob, Ellie learned English language in the off season. He'll figure it out. Yeah, it's exactly. I agree with you, Bob. I don't think learning English language and learning how to off speed is the same thing. But he learned that, he can learn this. And I, for one thing I loved what Ellie said is that he wanted to make sure that we could understand him. And I appreciate that because it's not easy to learn another language. There's lots of guys that come up here, like Johnny Cueto. I always kept waiting for Johnny Cueto. Jim Day kept saying Johnny Cueto was going to he kept trying to talk him into doing an interview in English, and I guarantee you it is nerve-wracking. I would have no idea how to do this show in Spanish. It's a completely different language, and to know what you're saying is the right stuff. And for Ellie to do that, hats off to him, man. He's 22 years old, and for that to be important to him, I thought was great. I mean, it meant a lot to me. I mean, honestly, because there's a lot of Dominicans and Hispanic players who are all throughout baseball. A lot of them are comfortable, and I get it. This is not a knock. I get it. They're not comfortable doing that. That takes big balls to try and do that. And I thought he did a great job. I did. I really thought he did an absolute phenomenal job. So I was happy to hear Ellie do that. And I think he's like, I'm going to fire my translator now, which is funny. But anyway, tomorrow. All right, so tomorrow show. Sorry I didn't have a show yesterday. I reached out to a couple of different people to come on and get as guests, and I didn't. And my wife always tells me if I don't get guests, I should just come on and talk to you guys. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't do it. I probably should sometimes just come on here and talk to you guys when we talk about what's going on in sports. But I didn't have a guest, so I just decided not to do any shit. But tomorrow, we are going to be talking WrestleMania. I was a huge wrestling fan when I was a kid. I was a huge wrestling fan in the Attitude Era. I've still been a wrestling fan my whole life. Keep track of it. I always watch WrestleMania. But I've never done a wrestling show. I got, friends with Andrew Dawkins of the Street Profits. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I put something silly out there saying, me and Corey Dillon and Bengals captain and Pork Chop got Andrew's back if he goes to WrestleMania. And I'm not kidding. I would walk out onto that ramp right behind him. I'd go through a table. I'd take a chair shot. I'd take a bump, whatever. That would be cool. He's a Cincy boy. I got his back. So tomorrow, Andrew, I can't come on. I asked Andrew if he come on tomorrow. They got WrestleMania stuff going on all week. So he will not be joining us. But Tim Daniel will be joining us. And he's got a couple guys that'll be joining us as well. We'll be discussing WrestleMania. It's 2 nights. Cody versus Roman. It's still talking about the Bengals and the Reds too as well. We talk about the the girls match. Rhea Ripley. Will they my curiosity on this is everybody's had their belts for a while. Rhea's had it for a while. Roman's had it for a while. Seth's had it for a while. IC title's been there for a while. Can't think of his name right now. They've all had the belts for a long time. Somebody's losing a belt. I'll be shocked I'll be pissed if nobody loses the belt, to be honest. But you got a couple guys that are on the verge of setting records for as long as they've had their belt. So, be an interesting conversation we have. So, of course, we'll talk WrestleMania. We'll talk Reds, Bengals, Bearcats, all that cool stuff. Friday, it's going to be an early show. I'm going to be doing it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because me and my son are going to go to the Reds game. So I wanted to do a little earlier. So Icky Woods and one of his sons, I'm not sure which one's going to join me. Maybe both of them. But Icky Woods will be on the show Friday. I will be discussing his charity and all things Bengals. And who knows, maybe Icky's a wrestling fan. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. But that's what I got coming up this week. So if you guys go down to the Reds game, come say hi. I'll be probably pregame a little bit at the Moreline House and then heading into the game. But thanks for watching. I'm live streaming on ZTV Online, YouTube. I'm at 2,521 subscribers. X, live stream on Facebook, Rumble, and Twitch. And if you missed any of our conversation with Jay Morrison or anything I talk about with the Reds, WrestleMania, any of that stuff, please check it out. And we'll listen to it tomorrow. It's on the podcast. It's on Beanpod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. I got 80 people watching this right now. I got 2 thumbs up. If you could give me a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. For everybody who's been wondering, I am back monetized on the channel. So if you guys on the YouTube channel, so if you guys ever are inclined to give me a super chat, I appreciate it. Shout out to all my sponsors. We got the best barbecue place in the city, Midwest Best Barbecue. Make sure you guys show up for day 2 of the draft. We'll be at Midwest Best Barbecue with Project Game Day. Corey Dillon will be there. We're going to be killing some wings, eat some CTB wings, some Uno wings. Make sure you guys go out and check out Midwest Best. It's on the east side. Yeah, I'm a west side boy, but I love Midwest Best Barbecue. It is delicious. And creamery. They have ice cream too. And with this weather we've had here lately, I'm so happy I got new windows by Meyer Door and Windows. With it being, springtime on Monday and then winter 2 days later, having nice new windows keeps my house nice in room temperature. They're energy sufficient. They're easy to clean. They look great. It's a great family-owned company. They give free estimates. Meyer Door Windows. Check it out at www.meyercincinnati.com. And my West Side peeps, go check out this jewel, this Gemo place. It's Hail Mary's. Your ticket to the game. So the Reds game start here about 7:30. I get off the show here. You guys head on over to Hail Mary's. They got a giant TV screen. You can watch the game there. They got beer specials. It's a great little spot there in Cheviot. Or we call it Cheviot. Check them out. And as always, got T Properties. And with the greatest quarterback in the league, his name is Jackpot Joey Burrow. You guys have an absolute wonderful day. Follow me on all that stuff, plus Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're talking wrestling, baby. Oh, yeah, about to win Randy Savage. Yeah. Other than that, that's why I do this. Throw it up. NWO, the click. Throw it up, baby. BWO, Bengal World Order for life. That's just sports, baby. See ya!